Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of I Can't Remember Shit, a memory podcast. I'm your host, Evan Barton, and today, me and a lovely guest are attempting a thoughtful descent, a peaceful reminisce, and an honest recollection of our own memories. Every episode, my guest and I discuss one aspect of memory in particular that they don't know about until I tell them right here, right now on this episode. Some of our favorite memories and our least favorite memories can evade us in the moment and might make us say, I can't remember shit. Hey everyone, please welcome to I Can't Remember Shit, my lovely guest, Alex Sapaugh. Hi, Alex.
Hi, Evan. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. This is such an honor. I'm at a loss for words.
You better not be. This is a podcast.
No, just kidding. You know me. I will never be at loss for words.
No, we are, I think, certified yappers.
Oh, yeah.
That word's like a new word for the zeitgeist, don't you think?
Yeah, no, I do think has it come from Gen Z?
I guess. I feel like I mostly hear like TikTok people say that they, want to go do this and yap or like whatever. And I'm like, I've been yapping my whole life. I know a few yappers.
I know a few yappers. It's generational. One of my first screen names was Motormouth 48. I was born for this.
Born for this.
Yes.
And now we have you on the pod. I'm super excited. This is my show. I can't remember shit. What do you think? What do you think of her? What's the vibe today?
Oh my gosh. Well, for one, she's amazing. This is incredible setup. You have come so far with this podcast.
Thank you.
I remember way back when we first met, hearing about this like creation, and now it's 4 years later.
Yeah, well, and it was so funny. I've had a repeat on this season already. My sister was my first episode, and then we just recorded one the other day, and I was like, oh my God, we recorded that 4 years ago.
This is like that Billie Eilish interview.
Exactly.
You need to have her every year.
The Vanity Fair every year.
You need to have her on every year. Ask the same questions.
Well,
no, don't ask.
Well, I was like, we did different topics, and that was cool. Like, the first topic was like about vacations, and then the second one was about K-pop, which is like things that we have such a niche overlap to, because like we're siblings. And so we went on vacations together, and like she put me onto K-pop. She changed the game for me. But I'm really excited to have you on this episode because, like we said, you and I, when we get together, it is like Miles is barely there. Well, that's not true because Miles is also a certified yapper.
He is a certified yapper too. This is the thing about him is that he thinks he's quiet. He thinks he's He thinks he's demure. He's shy.
When did he become demure?
No, he's a certified yapper too. You should. We live together, him and I, and it's
just.
You do? Yeah, you didn't know that about us. And no, it's yapping constantly.
There's 3 yappers in your house. You, Miles, Bowie.
Yep.
Actually, Bowie doesn't yap anymore because he's trained. He's trained. He's a good little baby.
He is a good little baby. And an example of Miles being a yapper is that every time I'm taking a shower, he comes in there to talk to me. I'm like, you are a yapper.
Wait, like, what's some of his opening lines? Hey, so I was just thinking about, so what do you think if we did this? Like, is he social planning with you?
Yes, actually today he came in there and, he told me not to spill too much, but he did come in there and he said, I'm not going to flush the toilet, but I'm going to go to the bathroom.
Oh my God.
And then he said, we should start planning out the restaurants we're going to go to on New Year's Eve.
I love that. Like, you're showering, he's shitting, and like Bowie's just like in the house somewhere.
Yeah, he's just like standing there.
He's like, where's my parents?
Where are my parents at?
That is so funny.
Yeah.
I live and the most congestion I feel like I've ever had. I've been neti potting like
I was gonna
every
ask.
day. Well, not every day, but neti potting is like a wild experience. I've never done it.
You had never done it
this year.
My bestie growing up, Vasilisa, shout out.
Diva.
I learned about neti potting from her mom, actually. We didn't do that in my house. We were not neti potters.
Was it a pot itself, or was it the squeeze bottle?
It was a pot, actually.
I use the pot. I'm a traditionalist.
We have the squeeze bottle at my house these days. Actually, one of my most popular TikToks ever from the year 2020 was me taking a video of myself the first time I ever used the squeeze bottle.
No way.
And I posted that shit.
Hell yeah.
and it did pretty good.
And it did pretty good?
Yeah, it did.
I'm obsessed.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm really excited to kind of like dive into the topic of memory with you, Alex.
Yes.
Like, I think that there's something about us being, like we said, yappers, but also like empaths.
Yes, so true.
But I think that we both, you and I, have really interesting and intricate ways of like connecting things to like things that we've done in the past. I mean, that's the whole point of like memory and I guess life experience and all of those things. But I always feel like I get a little bit of a lore drop from you whenever we hang out, which is fun.
Yes.
There's like something about your past lives before Tulsa and before Miles that I'm like, wait, you're what?
Yeah. Oh, that's so true. You know, sometimes I get a little embarrassed because I feel like I am like bringing up lore all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be like, ooh, this reminds me of da 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 da. And I'm like, do other people do this? Is it a small town thing? I don't know.
Well, I think that we contain multitudes, and I think we're in a digital age where we're almost meant to, I guess, hyper-focus on what is interesting about us.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
And sometimes it can come across as like, oh, I hope you know that this is the most interesting thing about me. Or like, I don't know, some people are a little coy and demure about it, so it just depends.
Yeah.
All right, Alex, well, I'm really excited to dust off our filing cabinets, start up our hippocampuses, and let us reminisce into our first segment today, which is where we're going to talk about our first memories of each other.
Okay.
And I'm really excited to, like, dive back into this with you and, like, restart this memory journey of our memories together because, like, you're a very special person in my life, and I know that I will have you in my life for a lot longer because of, like, amazing and exciting news that I just can't wait. I'm super excited about you and Miles for, like, ever and ever and ever. And, but yeah, like, let's remember what our first memories of each other were, but it's always guesties first.
Okay, guesties first, of course, naturally. Okay. So, I have two memories that either one of these could be the first memory, but I don't remember which one came first.
It's either the chicken or the egg.
Right, it truly is. So, one of them, which I think is the first time, is... Okay, the thing about Evan is he's the most helpful friend ever. He is there if you call him up.
Aww.
He is. You are.
What can I help you with?
You didn't...
What can I help you with?
Hello, this is Evan speaking.
Hey.
What can I do for you?
What can I do for you?
So you weren't helping me. You were helping our dear friends Tracy and Darren.
Oh, yes. Wait, yes.
So Evan was wanting to hang out with Miles. I don't know if we had met yet.
Yeah.
And Miles and I had been enlisted to scrape the paint off of an entire house's worth of windows.
Yeah.
And Evan was like...
That they don't live in anymore.
That they don't live in this house, no. And Evan said, okay, I'm coming. I'm there.
I'll be there.
Give me a spatula to scrape. And you rolled up.
I did. I rolled up the sleeves. I rolled up to the function.
You rolled up to the function. You rolled up your sleeves.
This must have been like really soon after we had met, or like one of the first or second times. I promise.
Yeah, I feel like, because you came to our house shortly after that to watch the 2020 election.
I was like, was this before the 2020 election or afterwards? And I know that I didn't meet you at the 2020 election.
Yeah, so I think we met. I'm pretty sure we met at Tracy and Darren's house.
This must be it then.
And then you came over to our house to watch the 2020 election.
Which was, an event that happened in history.
That was an event that happened in history for sure. And
we're like really mad about who won. No, I'm joking.
Right, like it was kind of like, that was kind of optimistic, I guess.
It was one of those elections that we were like, so he won? Like, because we didn't know. I didn't feel like we knew definitively that night.
Right, yeah.
Whereas this past election, it was unfortunately like,
pretty clear.
Maybe wrap it up. It's time. They're calling every state.
Yeah.
Which was sad. And here we are.
It was really sad. Like, even halfway through the day, I was like, oh. Oh.
Yeah, not fun. But the scraping was really fun, actually. I was like...
Yeah, we were getting drunk.
I was like, that was a... Well, I think we did some work first. And then we started drinking. Because then they got us, like, food. I think we ate a meal together afterwards. And, like, you know, Darren and Tracy are people that I've known for... I've known them as long as I've known Miles, essentially.
Yeah.
But, like, I've always been that person. I was going to say kid, but, like, now I'm an adult. I was that kid that talked to my friends' parents, and I'm still that adult that talks to my friends' parents.
You have this quality. You can get along, like, you can chat with anybody. It's the yapper in you.
Yes, it's the yapper in me. I've been told I'm, this is not a pejorative to me or to anyone, but I'm an old soul. And I don't, what does that make you think of? When you think of an old soul?
Okay, so I was always kind of, not to like go down totally a new tangent, but I was definitely that girly pop growing up that had older friends. Yeah. And people are always like...
we've talked about this as one of the lore pieces.
People are always like, oh, you're so mature for your age, which is weird now. People are like telling me as like a 13-year-old, like, you're an old soul.
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like that makes me think like... depth, like people can see a depth to you.
Yeah, I think that
there's like a lot going on behind the surface, maybe.
Yeah,
I think it's a good thing overall.
I think it's a good thing overall. I think it's one of those things that, like, as a child, there was essentially like some sort of like tension between like me wanting to develop a deeper relationship with my friends who were my age, and like, you know, I guess gravitating towards or like just finding it easier to have conversations with people that were older than me.
Yeah.
That was a dynamic that was going on. And like, I guess like at some point I felt like I wasn't like not relating to my peers, but like the kid shit that they were talking about wasn't the kid shit that I was doing.
Yes.
I was talking about adult shit. So, or like I was able to relate about adult shit with adults.
Yeah.
And the kids that I was friends with weren't dealing with adult shit.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I definitely think I feel that way as well.
Yeah, and so and them specifically, like Darren and Tracy are like the oldest of souls. No, I'm joking. they crack me up. Like I think
they've lived 1,000 lives.
They've lived 1,000 lives. They're truly, I think, like parents that are always happy to impart some wisdom. They have they're not shy at all about this life lesson means you shouldn't do this, kids. And
yes.
It's funny, like, you know, just conceptualizing them as Miles' parents because, like, Miles is the same way.
Yes. Well, and I think one thing about them that I really appreciate is that they both still have, like, their interests, like, things that they do.
Yep.
And, like, Tracy just put on the first, Coetta's, like, elementary school's first Christmas program.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like, they haven't had one before, I guess.
Yeah.
She put it on.
But Tracy Murdoch said, let me get in here.
Let me get in here. And she taught those second graders all those songs, the dance moves, everything. And
that's precious.
I'm like, that's so cool. That's so cool, like, being an adult that is, like, still excited about
the joy
life
of kids.
and kids. And, yeah.
That's super cool. I love that. Well, obviously, shout out to the Murdochs.
Shout out to the Murdochs. This is supposed to be about me.
It is.
No, I'm just kidding.
I was like, so if you've deduced accurately that was the first time that we met, I'll add into like the layer of like my first time, or I guess like what my reaction to you was.
Yeah.
Because like you are truly a gem on this earth. Like, I just, every time we get together, I know we're going to have fun. Every time we hang out, we are able to, like, I think mix the fun part of friendship where, like, we're intimately connecting about each other's lives. We are imbibing.
We are.
We're not afraid to knock a few joys.
No, we're knocking a few different couple things.
Yes,
back.
we have a good time together,
Yeah.
but it's centered, it's grounded in a true, I think, like, we want to understand each other.
Yes.
And we will navigate through all of those feelings together. And I love that. I think that you're also, with you specifically, I am always, like, love learning about your artistic process. because every time I've been over to your house and seen anything that you've done, it has that Alex Sapaugh like fucking stamp on it. It's so awesome. Just to continue to shout you out on this stuff, like you have such a creative vision on so many things. I love it. I'm obsessed with it.
Thank you so much.
I own some of your artwork in my house. I have a tufted strawberry with horns rug that is probably I think you still have one that you take with you to some of your other stuff.
Yeah, I make like one a year.
That's awesome. It's super fun. I love your process. It's you see your process on alex.sapaugh on Instagram, right?
Mm-hmm, yep.
Yes, because I was like, I know you have the personal, professional Instagram accounts.
I have 10 Instagram accounts, y'all, that I'm posting on.
Exactly.
I'm staying busy.
I know I have like 5 now with like work and stuff, so I'm like, okay, we're getting us marketing divas.
So true, so true. Oh
But
my gosh.
I think, and this is an interesting point to this conversation. So like, Miles is my like long. At this point, I can say like Miles is one of my longest friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
That I've like stayed in touch with, and we've continued to develop our relationship throughout the years. We met freshman year of high school, and oh my God, that
was a minute ago at this
point.
point.
That was 12 years ago. Is that right? No, 13 years ago, because I was 14 when I met Miles.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And you guys are the ripe age of 27 these days.
And we... You're going to get there, girl.
I know.
Don't start clocking.
It's coming up.
But, I mean, like, 14, we went through our high school years together. And, like, Miles was one of, like, my guy friends that knew that I was gay, like, in high school. And that meant something to me. I didn't necessarily share that with everybody at the time. Like, although it was written all over my demeanor.
Wait.
I'm gay? The pink jumpsuit give it away.
Oh my God.
But like in all seriousness, like my relationship with Miles has like developed over a long time, and Miles had before dating you was in a relationship with another close friend of ours for a really long time. And so I was intimately familiar with the way that Miles was in a relationship. And so for there to be a new lady in his life, I was like, who's this gonna be?
Who's this girlie?
And like we're not comparing at all, but like you are like you're just a gem. Like you really are such a special person that I think brings out new stuff in Miles like that I've noticed in him as his friend, and I truly have never had a bad experience in your presence. So I love it.
You're so sweet. You are so sweet. I am so honored to be like brought into the Tulsa community really by you guys, and like you were my first friend here, and I feel like you're basically family.
Yes.
Like really truly, I'm just like Evan is family.
Yeah.
And
chosen family. It's real.
It's so real. And yeah, you've definitely like made Tulsa for me. Like made me feel so welcome here.
That's super precious, and I really appreciate that because it is like absolutely my home. It's Miles' home too. I think what's interesting is like Miles and I navigate Tulsa differently. I think just objectively, the circles that we run in and things like that, and so the opportunities that I get to bring you into maybe a more creative space that I know about. I would love to do that and continue doing that. Low key, this like
yes, no, exactly, absolutely, and I think that's just like what has continued making me feel more a part of the community is like meeting other people that are super creative and are trying to do something new. Like this is the first podcast I've ever been on.
Oh my God. And not the last, because you're a great guest. Oh, I was going to say one more thing about the first time that we met. So at the time, I was working as a intern at a venture capital firm.
Yes.
An intern, if you will. And it was, you were one of those people that like, as soon as I told you about what I did, you were like, oh, well, I have an idea for that.
True, and I was like, give me their number.
Well, yeah, and this was election night when we really like fleshed out a lot of this, because we spent like 5 hours together.
Yeah, we did.
And I like you, so you've been a vegan for like your entire life, essentially.
Yeah, it's been going on 12 years now.
It's amazing.
So when I turn 28, it'll be officially half of my life.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, and your veganism is something you're passionate about, and also something that you've been able to like constantly like adapt to your lifestyle, which
Yes.
is super cool.
Yeah,
Whether
yeah.
you were a student, whether you're an artist with a job, whether you're a gig worker, like
Yeah, we're making it work. Rice and beans are vegan, y'all.
a lot of things are vegan actually.
Yeah.
If you eat from this earth.
yes, absolutely.
And so we really fleshed out an idea for like a tech platform that could, be a resource for vegans that are not struggling with finding vegan options, but like probably struggling with finding vegan options.
Yes, yeah, and I wanted to be like working with the idea was like I was going to hopefully be a vegan consultant for local restaurants in town, to help them develop vegan options on their menu, or just like even taking things they already have on their menu and veganizing them.
Yes.
That was fun. I had a few meetings.
It can still happen, I think.
It can still happen.
Because it's a fantastic idea that I, in my breadth and depth of the world, have not come across yet.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I do think it matters if you're trying to diversify a city's food landscape.
Yeah.
Because like, and I think you've come across this at this point in 4 years in Tulsa. Like, Tulsa's fairly vegan friendly. There's a couple of places that have like really good vegan options.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely a very vegan friendly place to live, and we have the Tulsa Vegan Guide. Shout out Sarah Hayden.
Oh yes.
You don't know who I am, but love you virtually.
Virtually.
No, the Tulsa Vegan Guide is an epic resource, and is just like an amazing platform to find vegan options at every place. So
that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really excited to reveal to you what our topic is going to be today. So as you know, like the podcast premise is that there is a topic that I know that you don't know that we are going to talk about. Our favorite and least favorite memories related to that topic.
Okay.
And I'm excited to tell you what we're going to be talking about today. Any guesses?
Okay. So I don't know, like, how PG all of this is, but...
I said fuck earlier.
He said fuck. Okay, so I know that, like, one thing about me is that I enjoy some different substances.
Yeah, it's not that.
Okay, good. Well, I mean, not good necessarily. Like, whatever.
We could do it right now.
I'm ready for anything. But I'm like, okay, something about me, or I don't know. I have no clue.
Oh my God, I love it. That's
I really have no clue.
That's been really fun. Like this season, every episode, like the person, my lovely guest has had no idea.
Do you choose the topics based on the guest,
yes.
or do you have like next in line is cat food?
No, I kind of have like a bank of topic choices, and also the guest inspires more of those. So I think about it a lot, and I think about it all the time. So, that was my like top. That whole album was in my Spotify Wrapped, like top
Amazing.
5. Very, very silly. Okay, well, we're gonna dive in. I'm really excited to talk to you today about something I know that you will have a breadth and depth of knowledge on.
Okay.
And I know you're really passionate about it, and your artistry in this field in particular really inspires me. We're gonna talk about photography.
Oh, okay, I can do that. I can absolutely do that.
I think I think this came about for me. Like I landed on this topic with you specifically because like we have had. I think you've like taught me camera settings and like given me like things to do with like a DSLR and like ways to. You've allowed me to think about photography in a way that actually has like a low barrier of entry.
Yes.
But you also have like so much knowledge that that is like I think coming from a studied and practiced like artistry, and it's really awesome. I think that the way that I'm excited to dive into the way that like you developed your knack for, and I wouldn't even say knack. I don't want that to sound like pejorative. You're like the way you express yourself through photography.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that's so fun. Yeah. I love this topic. I have endless. My brain is racing right now with like, okay. So many memories. Okay.
Well, yeah, but jump into, I'm happy for you to jump into your favorite memory related to photography that comes to mind to start.
Okay. My favorite memory with photography. There's so many different ways I could go because I am professional photographer. I am a leisurely photographer. I'm like, I have to be a photographer against my will because I'm needing to remember everything.
I know. I
right?
think, yes, literally.
And I've also, like, was just one of those kids that my parents, like, put a camera in my hand, like, just, like, a little
digital camera.
Yeah,
probably.
a little digital camera, and I just took it to sleepovers, took it everywhere, just took pictures everywhere.
Cute.
Okay, I'll say favorite, like, recent memory, was probably in 2021, my first paid food photography gig.
Oh, cool.
And that was a huge deal because I gotta say it, I grew up in Missouri. And
despite this, despite the
this.
home soon.
Yes, shout out Yvonne and Mitchell. Okay, so I grew up in Missouri, and there's a magazine in Missouri called Feast.
Oh, cool.
And they are basically a local food magazine that highlights restaurants in Kansas City, St. Louis, Columbia, Springfield, all around.
Yeah.
And in high school, I was like, yeah, I'm going to work for them. I'm going to be a food photographer for them. That's going to be my job.
I'm going to eat food and I'm going to photograph it.
I'm going to eat food and I'm going to photograph it, and I'll photograph it first and then eat it later.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. So that was like always kind of my dream, and then went to school, got a degree in photography, whatever. We're here now. Yeah, so my favorite memory was probably my first paid gig doing a food photography shoot for Sandoz, Rockin' Deli.
Ooh, I've heard of Sandoz.
Yeah,
like,
they're closed now.
What?
I know, it's heartbreaking.
That's crazy. But were they a local chain restaurant in Missouri? Like in
No,
Rolla?
they were here in Tulsa.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, baby. This is why I have a memory podcast. Can't remember anything. But I was like, I've heard of it, but maybe it's because it's here.
Yeah, yes. So Sandoz Rockin' Deli, they were downtown 6th and Boston, right by Elote.
Yeah, right by there.
Yeah.
Wow.
And yeah, it was a deli. They had like a full line of like deli sandwiches that were like regular, and then a full line of house-made vegan meats and cheeses.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's so good, so good. They sadly closed.
What happened?
I'm not quite sure what happened. There's a lot of overhead to make like house-made like vegan meats and cheeses and things
yes,
like that.
Yes. And like delis are typically made daily, like that type of produce.
Yeah, yeah. So I did, when they first opened, I was a waitress at Local Bison, same owners, and I was like, ooh, I could do a little photo shoot.
Yes.
And I did, and the best part about being a food photographer is getting to eat everything on the menu.
Yeah.
You can just eat everything. So yeah, I did that photo shoot. I knocked it out. I was giving out sandwiches to people on the street.
Oh, that's fun. You're hawking
yeah,
sandwiches.
I'm like, I'm done with this one. Here you go.
That's super cool. And so I'm really curious to know like where the passion for photography comes from now. Like, what's the perspective that you take on when you are doing the type of photography that you do now? Because you do photography really as like a full-on like part of your marketing mix for what you do professionally, and then you also have like your own like leisure hobbies with it as well.
Yeah.
But like I'm sure there's something that carries through regardless of the purpose of it. But what's kind of your inspiration or your vision for it?
I mean, okay, I know you said regardless of the purpose, but I am really obsessed with having that memory all the time, like capturing something. I am an avid scrapbooker and journaler. I love to have those like reminiscent things. Like phone eats first. Every time I'm out to eat, I'm taking phone photos of my food. I would say my inspiration is this bad to say that my inspiration is having something to put in my scrapbook?
No, I think that's, it's maybe vain. No, I'm just
it's maybe a little vain girly. It's maybe a little, I'm addicted to Instagram.
Yeah.
No, because even before that, I was the friend that brought my my digital camera to school
Yeah.
and like took pictures in class
Yeah.
of my friends. And anytime somebody's like, oh, I don't want to take a picture, I've had so many people tell me in recent years that they don't have any other photos of themselves from
Yeah.
those periods of time in their life aside from the photos that I took.
Oh, that's precious.
So I'm like, let me wear my badge of like, I'm the photographer if you know me.
Yeah.
I'm going to be taking pictures.
Yeah.
And I think that I could have girl bossed social media in a better way, honestly, and monopolize, monetize that in a better way. Didn't really.
It's hard, maybe, and if it's a hobby, you want it to always be fun
and
too.
special.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think I've always been really inspired by like print magazines and like big editorial photo shoots.
Yeah.
Grew up watching America's Next Top Model. Grew up watching like all of those shows where they're like showing them their like print photos.
Yeah. This is how it looks.
This is how it looks like physically.
And you're chopped.
and you're done.
Pack your knives and go.
Like, yes, literally. And I'm like, holy cow, like, that's so cool. It's so cool to, like, have, okay, it's cool to experience something, right?
Yeah.
And then it's cool to, whatever, post it, see it digitally. But then, like, I don't know, maybe it's just, like, the layers of removal, but I love printing out my photos and making a little, like, almost like a vision board scrapbook page of those memories together. Like, I don't know if it's just like regurgitating over and over something I've experienced.
Well, I think scrapbooking is the like, in some ways, like at the basis of scrapbooking is like this catalog of memories where like you can organize the memories in like this way essentially. I didn't even think about this like before you brought this up, but like memory and photography, like some people have photographic memories and all these things. Like there is the two topics play hand in hand in a lot of ways, and it is our modern way of like remembering a lot of things is like I remember this photo or I only have this memory because of this photo.
Yes.
And I think that's and you essentially said that like that's how you that is a source of inspiration for you. And I think what's even really cool, even more cool about that is like you get to kind of use that as a service for other people.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, I only have pictures that my friends only have pictures that I took. And like, imagine if you weren't there. Imagine if you weren't there with the camera.
Exactly. And like, I remember my ex that I had been with for like 6 years later being like, hey, can you like, I never did this, but he's like, can you go through your like photo albums and like send me all the pictures you have of me because I have nothing.
Yeah.
He went through a lot of periods of like not having a phone and like not really like having any way to like store those.
Yeah.
And I was like, totally. And he's like, I have no pictures of myself. I have no memories of like so many chunks of my life.
Do you think he changed after that?
Like to having a phone?
No, I guess, do you think like after you sent him all of the stuff that you had and you had this like, years essentially catalog of pictures of him, do you think he went from this day on, I'm going to start taking photos? Or is it something that because you provided that service or you provided that to him, he never felt the need to?
Well, I know he has another lady in his life that's probably taking pictures.
He's just a man who has to find a woman who will take
pictures. And he has a child now, and sometimes I see pictures of his child. So I think he is snapping some photos now. Yeah. And I think like...
That's awesome.
I think taking photos of things is kind of like a way of like affirming that you're like maybe like proud of something or I want to remember this
in the moment too.
Yeah, like you're in the moment. Some people think like stopping to take a picture means you're not in the moment, but I disagree.
I disagree too.
I think it shows that you're like in the moment and you're like let's capture this. This is so cool. And
when we walked across the stage at graduation, there's a photo of us with the photographer. And that moment, I mean, granted, I haven't purchased it because it's so fucking expensive, but the fact that there was a photo of me and that I can potentially go back to purchase and have forever, like that is a moment in time that I have pictures in other contexts of me with like the cap and gown on and stuff, but like not 5 seconds after I walked across the stage and received that from the
And like you're
president.
actually in the moment. Everybody's looking at you.
Yeah.
You're on the stage.
People are clapping and
People
cheering
are clapping.
for you.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
No, exactly. And so I think that people who maybe like don't take pictures, and I'm like psychoanalyzing now, but I think that it makes me like more grateful for my life because I mean it's so easy to like complain and have a toxic mindset. I fall victim to this all the time, but whenever I'm like, ooh, like this is such a cute setup, like I'll be like outside having a little cup of tea and Bowie's being cute.
Yeah.
I'm eating a little gluten-free coffee cake. I'm like, let me send a picture of
You're
this.
having tea and crumpets with your
With my dog, yeah.
in your garden, in your lovely garden.
In my garden. And I'm like, wait, this is so freaking cute.
Yeah.
And like I probably was just scrolling on TikTok, but then I'm like, wait.
Let me set the vision.
Let me set the vision. Let me take a picture of this. My life is so cute, actually.
Oh, that's precious.
And it's not fake. It's like I've taken the moment to be like grateful, capture this moment. And I think sometimes maybe people who don't want to photograph their life, maybe they just don't feel, I'm making such assumptions. Maybe they don't feel good about the situation they're in.
Yeah, no, I think it's a fair assumption because there's lots of reasons why someone wouldn't want the moment that they're in, the
To be
state of
remembered.
mind that they're in, to be remembered. Exactly.
Yeah.
That kind of gets into some of my like least favorite memories that we'll have later. But I want to share with you my favorite memory
Yeah, lay
related
it
to
on me.
photography. There was this moment in my life that I think I really started to fully understand like my Indigenous identity and wanted to like dive into that a lot more. And as that started happening, like I felt like I continued to have these cultural experiences where my like identity was affirmed in a lot of different ways. And one time we had been studying this type of it kind of comes from a dark place in a lot of ways, but the whole like idea of kill the Indian, save the man type of thing that you learn in like American history, the boarding school era.
Yes.
What would happen if I'm remembering this correctly? I do have a degree in this. Hopefully, hopefully the knowledge is still
I'll believe anything you say right now.
Thank you. But there was just, and this isn't just specifically for Native people, but there was this type of photography called tintype photography.
Yes.
Where the way that they took the photographs of the people would bring out the like hue of the undertones of the skin of Native people, and that is oftentimes why many people thought they were like red in some ways. That's where like the term redskin came from other things, but there also is just this like uniquely unique color gradient in the skin of Indigenous people that was fully, I think, captured in a unique way in a tintype photography.
Okay.
And so at school, there was the Hood Museum, was something that was like under construction for like half the time I was at Dartmouth, but whenever it was done being constructed, they had many different exhibits, and one of the live exhibits that they were doing was offering tintype photography to anyone. So they're doing it like in the modern age, you know.
Yeah.
And so I was able to get a photograph of myself. I should take a picture of it and insert it here.
Yes, you should, because that's cool.
It's a really interesting photo of me, and for Christmas one year, my dad got it framed for me. And I think the reason why like photography is something that I never had the experience of you. Like I didn't grow up having the desire to capture the moment in that way. Just different strokes, different folks type of thing.
Yeah.
But as I've gotten older, the more I've appreciated like, you know, the ability to capture the moment at any given time. Technology is a powerful thing. Like these cameras are allowing us to, you know, have this moment and to share it with other people. I really do value like the art form of it. And in that moment and in reflecting on like what that was to, you know, my people and many other Indigenous people, it kind of having this like cultural impact on my sense of self that I was constantly having at that time. And I think it's really helped me understand and affirm like who I am. What's interesting is like in that photo of myself, I think I'm wearing a turtleneck, a gray turtleneck, that is one of my favorite articles of clothing I have. I need to find it. I think I packed it away, and it's winter. I need to get it out.
Get it out.
But my hair at the time was interesting too. I like in the photo, I'm in very grayscale. I'm very white passing, and so like I don't have like a lot of the hues and the color gradient that I was expecting to not expecting to see, but I was like hopeful to see. Like this is like a 23andMe. Like please tell me I'm native. This type photography, but now I know that I don't need to be affirmed in my identity by like the way that I look and all that stuff.
Me on 23andMe. Please let me be Italian.
Please be native. But in that photo, it's interesting. I think my sister saw it one time. Was like, "You look more like the general than like the name."
They were testing it out on you first.
Exactly. They were like, "Let me make sure it works on a white person." So, anyways, I really enjoyed that moment with
having that similar experience, like history kind of repeating itself.
Exactly, and I think the process of sitting for that photograph was interesting too, because like they put you in this box. And it's like simulating a darkroom experience, and the flash is like the brightest flash you've ever seen.
Oh my gosh!
And it's like they were using like antique equipment when they did this.
Yeah.
So it was just a really interesting experience to have like in an art museum. I felt like I was making an art piece. I was the art. In a lot of ways, and so that's definitely my favorite memory related to photography, because it has like all of the things that I find. Personally, culturally affirming, and I've never had like self-image issues necessarily.
Right.
I recognize that my understanding of my sense of self has changed a lot over time. I look like this now.
But you're kind of like evolving and like going with the flow of it too. You're like not fighting yourself, which is really amazing.
Yeah, and especially like some of these aesthetic choices that I've made more recently that are, a lot more like visually striking, like the nails, the purple hair, the bangs, and like choosing to do makeup from time to time and all those things. But it's I've never looked back at a photograph of me and not liked who I saw. I thought I was a really cute kid.
Yes!
I know that I had like a kind of awkward Twinkie phase where I was like really skinny and very athletic and all these things, but like I am so glad I have like those photographs of me, because I know what I look like at any given time, and that means something to me.
And that's something that can be like really taken for granted too, because I have people in my life that were adopted and have no photos of themselves before a certain time period. Yeah. And I cherish my baby photos so much.
Your baby photos that you posted the other day? Oh my gosh. You're so precious.
On National Twin Day.
I know. Well, I was like, and to get to see Andy too. Like, you guys as babies. It was so interesting. You guys look like you go together, but you don't necessarily look like sisters.
No, we're like just from the same litter. We're just from the same litter.
But that's precious, and I loved those photos, and I think that sentiment that you shared about like other people not having the access to those memories through that, like I want to I love finding my baby pictures.
I do too. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like this specific person, I don't know why I'm talking so vague about them. It's literally my sister-in-law, Cheyenne. Yeah. I've like daydreamed about like somehow like finding her biological mom and being like, do you have these photos? Can I like buy them?
Can I buy them?
And like surprise Cheyenne with them?
Yeah.
Because that's just like a precious time, and like
that's a love language too in some ways.
It is, and like that's something that's like maybe I'm projecting, but it's so valuable to me, and I want her to have that. You know, she doesn't have any photos from before 10 years old.
Wow. I mean, in 10 years old, your understanding of who you are is there. Like but if you don't have the ability to recall what that looks like, that's hard. How else are you capturing what you look like without photography, without like this snapshot of who you are?
Right, exactly. Yeah, because you don't have that many memories from, like, that many memories from before 10.
Oh my gosh.
You do, but like...
No, they are deep in the long term, all of the things. Okay, we're taking a turn.
Okay.
We're going to, if you go into the hippocampus, which is where memory is stored, you're in your brain, if you take a left, then you'll fall down into the memory dump.
Okay.
And so in the memory dump is where we talk about our least favorite memories related to this topic. And I, of course, Gasties go first.
Okay. Give me a sec. I'm trying to think of my least favorite memory. I mean, I could go like, once again, so many different directions. I'm like, least favorite memory of taking photos, or like least favorite memory of like the time that was being experienced in a photo that I can remember.
I think both are extremely valid and would be interesting perspectives.
Okay. I mean, I've had some gigs that were pretty unfortunate.
Yeah.
I've had, shout out, but there was a gig that I had photographing 10 days worth of partying.
I was going to say, this was like, I knew this was going to come up. Because this is like one of the craziest experiences that you've ever described to me.
Yep. So I had a job that for multiple years where I was assigned, I'm going to just be vague about.
That's totally fine.
Yeah.
I know that there's I don't want you to go back for your safety, but like, be as vague as you want. And I can also bleep things or whatever you need.
Okay. So basically I had a gig where I was tasked with photographing 10 days worth of college parties. And the hours were 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. for 10 days straight. Parties, college parties. Even when I first started this, I was already out of college, so I'm older than everybody that I'm with. It's mostly men, also mostly people that aren't even legally old enough to be drinking. And
you're there to photograph them.
To photograph everything. 18 hours for 10 days straight. Okay.
Wow.
And then not to mention the hours on end of going through 10,000 photos or more. I can't even remember how many of people getting belligerently drunk, puking on people as like hazing.
What?
Yeah.
And you had to photograph this?
Yeah. People there's like a hair salon night where people get like crazy, like shaved, crazy haircuts, like against their will kind of.
Oh, God.
That I'm photographing. People doing all sorts of drugs that I'm photographing.
Wow.
And look, I'm a reformed party girl. I can hang.
365 party girl.
365 party girl. I can hang. I can hang with the best of them. But I also have my like camera set up.
Yeah. You have your like camera that costs as much as a car.
Yeah.
On you.
On me. I'm wearing a backpack. I'm starving as a vegan.
Yeah.
I'm starved, okay?
The beer is not enough carbs or protein.
No, it's not, okay?
Also, you probably shouldn't drink when you're on the job. Like, you're not really able to enjoy yourself.
And literally both times that I did, like, get a little drunk, I broke something on my camera.
Ugh.
Literally both times.
Yeah.
And also one year I broke my phone in half, completely in half.
You said.
It literally got broken completely. Like, you've never seen a phone. You didn't know it could do this.
Well, so many college parties are just crazy and things just...
Disgusting basements.
Yeah. Oh, my God. I can't even imagine.
I mean, honestly, the grossest part is, like, they get, like, Letterman jackets, and they have to get, like, seasoned. And all of the, like, freshy people, I don't even know the lingo. All the freshmen, like, put their jackets in buckets, and everybody drinks belligerently and pukes into the buckets, and then they have to, like, sit in the buckets of puke.
What?
And then wear the jackets. And I am photographing this.
Oh my God.
In 4K, bitch.
In 4K. So I guess, like, is this...
That's a pretty bad memory.
You're creating a historical record for them, or is this, like, published anywhere?
Some of the photos are published, for sure. I am being paid public university dollars.
Wow.
I'm getting paid a good amount, okay? Like, I wouldn't do it for any less.
Well, oh my gosh, yeah. They put you through it.
They put me through it. I did this for 2 years. Very miserable. It's one of those moments where I'm like, bitch, stop being a bitch. You just need to have fun. Go have fun. This is supposed to be fun.
But that's not an
Everybody's doing whippets. And I'm photographing them like literally their faces are purple.
Yeah, like As much fun as that could sound to someone, I don't think that I'm the person that would have fun in that environment while also being tasked with working.
Right.
I like to split my professional, I guess separate from like a work happy hour. I like to split my professional life and my personal life as much as I can.
Absolutely.
And that's just sometimes not an option.
No. And I mean, as many times as there were like the crazy things happening, there was a lot of times where I was just sitting on the couch with these fellas, like watching American Dad, and then feeling like I could be anywhere else.
I could be anywhere else. I could be with my baby right now.
Yeah. So that's probably like my worst on the job. Like,
I wasn't sure if I wasn't sure when I brought up this topic. I was like, I know we've really gone into like some of these horror stories about this event and everything, but I just like I knew you didn't like it. I didn't know if it was gonna be like your worst words.
It's just like it's just at the front of my mind. And honestly, look, one day when I'm organized, I'm gonna publish a photography book.
An expose.
And I do have a lot of really fucking cool photos from these weeks because they're just insane.
Yeah.
The photos are just insane. And I might have to like scratch some eyes out or whatever. But yeah.
Well, we do it for the art.
We do it for the art. And I do want some of these photos to see the light of day because there are some like really cool photos where they're just like people,
like liquids being poured into the mouth of a college of a 19-year-old or something.
Yeah, and like some of the photos from like the hair salon night, like just the lighting and what's the word? Like the ambiance, the feng shui of a college patio with the certain LEDs, the certain like broken backdoor light. Like you're never going to be in a situation like that. It's never going to look like that again. And it's just a cool photo.
Yeah.
And I can appreciate that. I can appreciate the art later.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I would say for myself, I hate looking back on photos of myself whenever I thought that I was
serving.
Well, when I thought that I wasn't serving, and it turns out I was serving, and I let my brain take the sleigh out of it.
Yeah, exactly. You decided to damper it for some reason.
That happens a lot.
Creeped out.
Yeah, that happens a lot. Like looking back, I'm like, wait, I was so cute. And then what?
Well, you've always
the body
been
dysmorphia.
Yeah, exactly. The body dysmorphia, or like
photography really puts that out there for you.
Or I don't like my hair that day.
Yeah.
Or, why did I do that makeup? Like, what was I thinking? The eyeliner.
We learn.
We listen and we don't judge.
Yes. Man.
I need that to be a segment.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
We remember and we don't judge.
We remember and we don't cringe.
Exactly.
Yeah. No. It's so.
Well, it's really interesting. I appreciate like some vulnerability here too, because I think that this is something I'm also going to kind of take it in a darker direction with my worst memory, because I think that there is the opportunity to capture a really dark time. Yeah. And I think that photography also has the ability to tell a story in sequence of a person's condition. And I think my worst memory related to photography, I think, happens like at funerals. Oh. And I think that this is slightly heavy, so I apologize, but I am comfortable sharing it and talking about it.
Yeah, please do.
I've had some deaths in my family that were very young, and these were people in my life that I really wish that life hadn't taken them in the direction that it did. And so having pictures of them that we did have of them were, almost bittersweet most of the time, because they either look completely different than the last time that I saw them, or you're cataloging, essentially, or marking in time their decline. Yeah. And, I think the funeral is like the time when there is no choice but to confront those photos, and out of their memory, out of respect for their memory, right? Out of they weren't always like this, to prove that, or we love them regardless. Mm-hmm. This really interesting, I think, dynamic that plays out. But like, yeah, I've had my aunt and my cousin have both died due to drug overdose, and they were related. So his mom, his mom died first, and then he died. And so to have like, in so many ways, this is like, it's not my. It's just tough because like my memories are now only in photos.
Yeah.
Like I don't have a lot of moments where I necessarily like enjoyed being in their presence towards the end, because I was a kid and they were essentially on their way out of this life.
Yeah.
And not to our knowledge. We didn't know it was going to end the way that it did, but to see it captured in photography and on a photo is like, it's depressing. It's emotional. It's it's the only time that I can actually sit with the feeling of like regret, because I don't like to ever think, I don't like to have regrets. I live my life with the intention of not creating a regret, or I make my decisions confidently, and I do all of that to not have regrets. But there's something that creeps in relating to regret when I look at photos about those people, because it's like, could I have done something? I know the answer is no. I know the answer is, it's unfortunately their journey and their decision, and that is the choices that they made. But you can kind of see a lot of different things unfold in that.
And also in those moments too, because I've lost a few people close to me. That's something that like we've kind of like shared before. You look at those photos now with the knowledge of what happened.
Yeah.
And in the time, of course, you know that they're going through something, but it's like you can't live somebody's life for them.
No. Yep. And you can't want something for someone more than they want it for themselves.
Exactly. And yeah, no, that's like the really wild thing too about social media and things that people in your life will like willingly post.
Yeah.
And you see, and you're like, oh my goodness.
Do you know that this triggers me? Like, did you ever think that seeing this would potentially impact me in this way? Like, I don't know.
And that people care about you and like wouldn't want to see you like this.
Yeah.
And then they're gone, but their social media is still there, and then you still see that.
Yeah.
And that's like their memory in a way.
Yeah, in a this isn't necessarily a darker turn of it, but like I get a friend request from my dead grandmother like almost like every 2 years or so on her birthday.
What?
And it is like really troubling, like mostly because like she is my matriarch in a lot of ways, my dad's mom, and like really has cemented in me my understanding of who I am.
Right.
I was like racing home one time from New Mexico, when I lived in New Mexico, to try and make it before she passed, so I could tell her that I was gay, and so that she would forgive me and love me anyways.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't get the chance to do that, but the memory of like the photo, I'm pretty sure, I don't think I took the photo that is her profile picture, but like it puts me right back in her house, right back like where I could have a conversation with her about my life, and she would be so interested, and she would want to know.
She would want to know.
She cares, and she like loves me, and I don't know. I think especially when you're thinking about like people at passing and stuff like that, it's bitter. Like I said, bittersweet is a great way to describe it, but there's also just like, it is sometimes like the only way you can remember that person, whether it's fondly or in a not so good way, is like those photos that you have of them. Like I have photos of my cousin Brady and I, like we're kids and like wrestling and stuff. Like we grew up together, and like I like know that he liked Pokemon. I like know that he was really a good athlete and played baseball, and we all played baseball together, and that was the way that we bonded in a lot of ways. And there's pictures of us like at his baseball games, or like pictures of us of him like coming over to our house and us all playing like Halo on the Xbox and stuff. Like these are moments that are like, I don't hate that I have them, but it's sometimes painful to look at them, and so I typically don't. But it is just, I'm glad I have them, but I don't often return to them.
Yeah, because it uncovers like maybe like an alternate path. Like, wow,
Yeah.
it's hard sometimes to see like, oh, like there we were all as kids, like level playing field almost, and then like the way the
world
paths
hadn't gotten to us yet.
Yeah, the world hadn't gotten to you yet, and yeah, it's really interesting because last year my cousin also passed away from an overdose, and it's a very similar situation where I'm like, I couldn't have a trampoline as a kid because my cousin broke his arm on his trampoline, and my parents were like, nope, they're too dangerous. I'm like, you fucker, you were not supposed to go out like this. And like sometimes I'll be dancing, and he loved to dance and like doing specific dance moves, and I'm like, wait, that's a Shelby dance.
Aww.
You know, it's like it's really interesting to think like, especially when it's family, you're like, we had the grief and like we had like similar. I want to say, I mean, I don't know the house, I don't know his house, but like you would think like we have similar people raising us.
Yeah.
And
I mean, in our specific scenario, like me and my cousin, I don't think we did, and that's fully, I think, what put the path on to where it is. This is why I'm here, and not why he's there, but like there was a path that led him to a place where he could be where he is now, and that makes me grateful. It's like, and not in a like comparative, I'm so glad I had it better or whatever. It's like I'm grateful that I have what I have in whatever form.
Yeah. You it gives you a moment of pause where you're like, wait, okay. Like, I have people that really are looking out for me.
And they have been there my entire life.
Yeah.
And, you know, he did too.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter that we all that we have people. It's sometimes just how life takes you. And so I do fondly remember him. And I think, and all the folks that I can now only remember through photos, like I remember them with oftentimes, like, the good things are the ones that come to mind, but then also some of the pain as well. Absolutely.
Oh, man. Photos are so crazy. This is, like, spinning my head. I feel like I have so many things that I could say, but I know we have...
Oh, no, we're almost at our last segment, and so I want to kind of, like, zoom out from photos.
Okay.
And zoom out from photos. And talk a little bit about like memory, just like more as a whole.
Okay.
So, you know, what, in your opinion, you know, as you are in your age of life and where you're at, how does memory affect your life now? What do you think you struggle with remembering the most? What do you aim to, you know, remember more of going forward?
Okay. Definitely going forward, I want to remember more of, like, I don't know, this is so cliche, but like more of the special little moments, because I think like as I've gotten older, I've definitely been more like pessimistic. It's hard not to.
Yeah.
And I really want to cherish my sweet little slice of heaven that I have. And yeah, I think I want to remember more of the things that I'm grateful for, and repeat the question.
No, that was it. If there was anything specific like that you wish you had more memories of, or what you already answered.
Okay, more memories of, I would say, oh gosh. I want to make sure, I don't know, I'm the same way as you, where like I really don't want to live my life with any regrets. And part of, you know, moving to a different state than where your family lives involves like having less memories with your family.
Yeah.
And I'm really lucky that pretty much all of my family is still alive. So I definitely want to like cherish those memories more. And like I've made a point to take more photos with my family. I feel like that's not really something that we do very much.
We don't either.
We don't really take photos together.
Yeah, my family doesn't do that at all.
So I not to make it about photos, but I want to make sure that I'm taking photos with my family.
Yeah.
And remembering like those moments with my family, and just I kind of already take photos of everything. So continuing to just
keep doing it.
Just keep doing it. Like, don't scroll so much on TikTok.
I love it. No, I think you touched on something that I also want to do too. Like remembering to be, I think, more intentional with the way I try and like store memories in some ways.
Yeah.
And I store memories in a lot of different ways. I like through photographs, but also through music.
Oh, yes.
Through like an activity that like, even though I don't maybe have like a photograph of the activity, but like knowing that I did it makes me think about it sometimes, and hopefully it's a good memory of it.
That's such a good point. Especially, sorry, not to cut you off. Is there more?
No.
Okay. That's something that I'm really trying to take into the holidays, because we're coming up on Christmas with the fams.
Yeah.
And I want to like, I'm trying to gamify it a little bit more, the holiday time that we're spending together, to make the memories like more rich. I'm not trying to like totally orchestrate the moment, but it does take some planning and some thought to make it something that's like special and memorable. Because girl, I've had too many Christmases where it's like everybody just sitting around looking at their phone.
Yeah, we're not doing anything.
We're not doing anything. So like
we are together, but we're not doing anything together.
Yeah, so like you said, like even if it's like an activity, we're getting a little like tabletop grill. We're gonna be like grilling things at the table.
Yeah, last year we like I put together like all my Legos, and we watched like Christmas movies.
That's so fun, right?
And it was really fun. I was like engaged in the activity of making these Legos, but also like we were all watching this movie that we hadn't seen.
Right. And it also like gives you guys things to talk about. Yeah. I think that's really good.
I love that. Well, Alex, we did it. We remembered shit.
We remembered shit. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be thinking about a million things that I could have said probably when I leave here.
I love it. This is like low-key, this is like what the Patreon content that I want to maybe make is like you sending me like a voice memo of like the things that you remembered more about your topic.
Yeah.
And I post that later on a paid thing for more.
That's like fun idea.
Thank you. Working on the creativity behind it. But we did it. We had a great time. I really enjoyed your all of your stories that, some I didn't know and some that I did know, and now we're able to kind of like externalize in this way. But thank you so much for being here, Alex. I really had a great time on this episode.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It's truly an honor. I love to support you in anything that you do. So I am so happy to be here.
Oh, thank you so much.
It's so much fun.
And thank you for listening to this episode of I Can't Remember Shit.
Bye.